We're very proud the way we responded to a very challenging, tough week. Over the midway point, we just passed the midway point of the Big Ten season. So we have a lot of work to do, but we're excited to get back after it and solve some puzzles that we have and get a little bit better.
Chris, can you start us off?
I remember when John Beeline won his first game at the Breslin Center, and he said it was like somebody lit a fuse. He was out pumping gas after the game, and people were coming up to him and stuff. Can you just talk about the reaction you've gotten? Can you kind of sense the excitement in the fan base after this one?
Yeah, that one just felt different. And obviously we were disappointed in the way we performed last year. And so, we're never really too high or too low when there's something to be learned from each example. And we felt like we learned a lot from both of those games. The first being that we can't make it more than 40 minutes of good basketball. And there has to be poise and composure and stamina and guys ready to go the distance and fight all the way till the end. And the other thing was our personnel last year, we didn't have enough dog to win the league. We had some, and I love our guys last year, but we just didn't have enough dog. And so we were able to solve that issue in recruiting. We were close. We just didn't have enough. And sometimes it's just being a year older. It's sometimes I think our staff did a great job of being intentional about fixing the things that needed to be fixed instead of just hoping that things change or go away. So, but yeah, we learned from all of our tough experiences last year. But to be honest, this year we expected to win. We like our team a lot. We think there's great substance. I know people outside of our tribe will call our guys these derogatory names, mercenaries and whatnot. We have a group of guys that love playing with each other. They appreciate Michigan. And when you see how connected they are, I don't know how you would, I guess, classify them as guys playing just for money when they all sacrificed a great deal of money to do what they're doing together. And so we have a long way to go, but very, very happy with being in position to compete at the midway point, essentially.
And can I ask real quick about Elliott? This summer, I think you said, he was 41% or whatever on catch and shoot threes, but now he's doing it off the dribble. Can you just talk how he's evolved as a shooter, and has it even exceeded your expectations maybe a little bit?
I don't have expectations per se when it comes to percentages and things like that. We just felt like we believed in him as a shooter. We believed in him as a leader, as a brain center of our team. The guy's he's brilliant on the basketball court. And so the shooting is kind of icing on the cake because we've always erred on let's go recruit a 33% shooter who can guard and who's tough and can rebound versus a 38% guy that doesn't do those other things. So we've got to try to scheme or camouflage or whatever, all the things to hide that. And so if he is a 33% shooter, we think he's good enough to help us win being a 33% shooter. And credit to him, he shot really well off the dribble early in the season. His catch and shoots have been on point all year. He shot really well the first third of the season on off the dribble, and then he hit a little bit of a funk off the dribble. And some of it was just too early in the clock or whatever, and he's fixed that as well. I mean, he stopped shooting as many, but late clock or whatever the case, we need a basket. Just like, we don't hunt those off-the-dribble mid-ranges or off-the-dribble threes early, but if our guys have to make them late in the clock, Trey McKinney made 2 huge late shot clock shots, and typically in a conference season, you need to win some games on those late clock possessions, and I think they were a big part of us getting over the hump and getting the lead back.
Is Burnett a full go for this week?
Namari?
Yeah.
Yes.
Could you talk about comment on the front line and Cadeau's defense, but could you speak to Burnett, Gale, and McKinney, your thought on what each of those guys bring on defense, the way you guys track it?
On defense, yeah. We are very confident in all of those guys defensively. They each present something a little bit different, and they're all incredibly valuable in everything that we do. And they're all sacrificing a lot. And I met with one of them yesterday on that they're in a tough spot where if they play really well in that game or things are going really well, then they'll play 25, 26 minutes. If someone else is playing really well or they don't have their best stuff, they're probably going to play 15. And so that's their range, 15 to 26. Is that ideal for any of them? No, it's tough because most players like to know, hey, I'm going to play 12 minutes in the first half and 12 in the second half, and now I can just, when I'm taken out of the game, I can just decompress and get ready to go back in. Sometimes when you're in that situation, you're wondering when am I going to go in? Why am I not in now? Did I do something wrong? There's just a lot. I mean, there's anyone that's ever played sports in a competitive environment they know the crazy things that go on in your mind when you're in the moment. And so we just challenge our guys to take a step back and look at it from a different perspective, the lens of someone else's glasses, and usually that refocuses them. And we all chose to do this. We knew we had a good team. We knew that, I mean, if one of our guys wanted to score twice as many points, he shouldn't have came here. And that's part of the deal, to be playing on the nationally televised games every night, to be in position to get a double bye in a Big Ten tournament, all those things that we were chasing, and chasing a championship. Like, that's the cost of doing that. I don't think there's, Arizona's a great example. I've watched them a few times. I have a lot of respect for their coach and their program. And those guys are all sacrificing a lot. And if they didn't want to do that, then they should have went to somewhere else and been all about themselves. But they didn't. They chose that, and now they're playing the game the right way, and I feel like our guys are too. So to answer your question, we're very confident in all of them. They all bring something completely unique and different to the table. And at the end of the day, everyone doesn't play great every game. And so basketball is so fluid. It's not like in football where your quarterback doesn't have it. You can't really replace him because of all the things that go with it, or you can't go with your backup because of a number of reasons. And baseball, you just pull your pitcher and you pull your ace and you throw him back out there 5 days later, and hopefully has his best stuff that night, or the matchup's better, or whatever the case. And that's kind of how we're built. And it's not easy, but it's worth it.
It seemed like even though you went smaller in the second half, Adai had a big presence on the game, setting the tone early on both ends. I guess, what kind of impact has he had this year for you guys, the way that he's played, especially, early on in games?
He has an impact in a number of ways. First and foremost, he's an incredible teammate who really deeply cares about people and wants to be a part of something special and in a community that embraces who he is. And I think our guys really compliment him, and he compliments our guys well. And his passing, his rim protection, if he's around the basket, he has to be accounted for. All those things just they allow us to play better outside of his production and rebounding and whatnot. But he's a really, really good player that continues to grow, and he's learning a lot with the physicality in the league. And we don't expect him to be the screener that Vlad was, because they're different body types and different skill sets. And so we're just trying to really incorporate what are his strengths and secret sauces into our equation, or our meal, or whatever the case. And he's done a good job in a number of areas. I could go on and on about Adai. He's incredibly valuable. Most importantly, like, we'll do a substitution for whatever reason, and sometimes guys are disappointed. I mean, he's as excited as a 16-year-old playing for Real Madrid in the EuroLeague finals. I mean, that's just the type of guy he is. So as a coach, very, very, I really appreciate just how good of a guy he is and how great of a teammate.
And there was a play where Fears appeared to trip Yaxel. Is that beyond?
Appeared?
Or did trip Yaxel?
I mean, it was an illusion, right?
Right. I apologize. And then
No, that's okay. I don't mean to be.
but
I apologize more than.
no, you're good. That seems like beyond basketball, I guess. Beyond a basketball play, is that something the Big Ten should look at?
I think there were several plays that are very dangerous, and I am incredibly proud of our guys for the responses they had to some of those situations. Incredibly proud for their self-control, their restraint, and their impulse control. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But they're not isolated incidents.
Yeah. I kind of want to go more on that. What?
The film's there, 40 minutes of it. It's not hard to find.
Have you reached out to their staff or?
It's not hard to find.
have you reached out to their staff?
I have not reached out to their staff, no.
Okay. Then back to my original question. You said that this year you wanted to bring in more dogs, and obviously, I mean, there's 4 main rotational players who you brought in, the big 3, and then Trey, I guess. Bringing in I've asked you about this before, but the front line, bringing them all together, convincing them they could coexist and something could look like this. I mean, what is the thing that each of them brings, and how were they all able to buy into that together?
I think they all bought in because of the vision that our team played with last year, as far as the outside the box thinking. And Danny and Vlad did a lot because they did something that I mean, you don't see it. 2 7-footers completely, I mean, they're out there playing jazz together. And so naturally, if you're a big guy and you all big guys want to shoot threes and dribble the ball. All guards want to, I mean, it's just the way it is. If any of us have ever played, I love posting up. And then obviously DNA took over, and then I couldn't post up anymore. And that's just part of it. But they, as far as making it work, I think when you have really talented guys that can do a number of things well, there's so many solutions now, and our game is incredibly complex. So you can find references to this working or not working, but I think it's just, I don't know. They all, and once again, when one of them committed, and then the next one committed, they were both told by everyone that it couldn't work. Why would you do that? You're not going to play. It's just it's just part of it. Like, I'm not complaining at all. And then when we got all 3 of them, then it became overload where it circled back. All the original schools recruiting them all circled back to that you can't play together. Why would you do that to yourself? You're all the stuff. And I think just they're competitive guys. They don't like being told what they can't do. They're not afraid of failure. They're not afraid of competition. They're not afraid of challenges. So I think their personality traits allow them to do that. But also they respect each other. And if you want to win big, you don't go where there aren't good players. If you really, really want to win, you're not as scared of competition. You know that's going to make you better. And also, the NBA is so different now where they're looking for connectors. They're looking for role guys. They're looking for value. They're looking for all these things. So you don't have to go and put up huge numbers. You just have to go be efficient and win. And coaches at every level, high school, junior high, AAU, college, pros, we're all looking for guys that impact winning. So if you prove you can impact winning, and when you win, then there's proof of concept, then that helps all these guys individually. And their individual careers after this, they're incredibly important to us too, that we have one eye pointed towards their future and their development. So even when we're working extra on things they're not doing now in games, it's to help them down the line so they're prepared for whatever situation they're in next.
Then I want to just sneak one more in. Yaxel specifically. Have you been around? I mean, it's how we've talked about it. It's almost like he's not aware that he's a superstar, perceived as a superstar, just the way he acts and how goofy he is. And do you agree with that?
I've never been around anyone like him, and I'm incredibly appreciative of how much he cares about his teammates as well. I'll say it again. He doesn't act like a mercenary every day. He acts like he's completely engrossed and embedded in our program, our culture, and winning for others. He's unique. He's special, and for a guy to go, I mean, we ran probably 2 plays for him, 1 play for him, and he gets 26 and 12. There aren't a lot of guys like that you can just that can go get 25 or 30 in the flow of a game, and he can. His offensive rebounding these last couple games have been that's been the difference, and he continues to add different things. His shot looks great. They haven't been dropping lately. They're going to, but it's the other things. His ability to track the ball, get loose basketballs, offensive rebound. They're impressive. So we wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for his unselfishness and his humility as a guy that was ranked as the #1 guy in the portal.
You guys haven't seen Illinois and Purdue yet, but I guess what do you just make of sort of the contenders or that top tier that have formed at the top of this league, and what you see as your guys' key to surviving this thing?
Staying healthy, staying together, just playing well at the right times, timely shooting. Those teams are really, really good. And I heard a coach say it the other day that it's not who you play, it's when you play them. And the ebbs and flows of a season, where you catch them in their schedule and your schedule. Those things all matter. But we've got a Penn State team that gave us everything and then some. On this Thursday, we're focused on that game, and then I'm not even sure who we play. I think we go on the road the game after that. I think Ohio State maybe. So we're not looking too far down the line. We could be a different team by then. Those teams could be a different team. We obviously know how good both of those teams are. I mean, Illinois, I've caught their last couple games, at least parts of them, and they're playing at a high level. You lose Bam, and you put another guy in who stayed ready, and they just keep functioning the way they did before. And obviously Wagler's playing as well as anyone in all of college basketball lately. And then they're like us, they're big and they're skilled, and so they're going to present a number of challenges. And then Purdue, you have 2 first-team All-Americans. So I don't even know when we play either one of those teams, but I've seen both of them enough to know that if I start thinking about them now, then I'm probably going to have an anxiety fit, and we won't do what we need to do as far as focus on Penn State.
You said 7 days ago that your bench players didn't need to shoot the lights out of the ball to get more minutes and make meaningful impact. And then a day later, you see Trey make a clutch shot. And then a few days later, Will makes that big 3 against MSU. Can you just talk about their role on the team, not just those two, but the entire bench? You mentioned dogs on your team in general and how they've all just made a meaningful impact on a game-to-game basis.
Yeah, obviously it's well stated what Will does for our program and our culture, and how well he's done recruiting and making players feel at home and helping them and organizing team functions and all the stuff that great leaders do and great people do on the court. Because of the playing time situation, he hasn't scored or shot nearly as well as he's capable of. He's sacrificed as much or more than anyone in our program, and we're grateful for that. And hopefully we can have we can hang a banner because of that sacrifice, because it's never guaranteed. It's blind faith. But Trey McKinney, I mean, for a freshman to come in and his defense be on par with his offense is incredibly rare when you're an All-American offensively. That's ultimately at high school. They're not choosing you based on your defense, and so you never really know. And he's been unbelievable on the defensive side of the ball. As far as his desire to improve, his basketball IQ, he is bright. He's tough. He has great self-awareness. He respects the guys on his team. So even when he's not getting all that he desires, then he realizes why at that moment, and he doesn't get down about it. But he's getting better and better, and his role is growing. And it's not because how many threes did he make last game? 1 3. It's not because of that 3. It's because of the way we're functioning when he's in the game, and because he's so reliable and dependable.
And a quick second question. The month of February is going to be really tough, and there's a lot of just stacked games, especially in a few weeks with Purdue and then Duke. After now playing so many different weeks of just a really gauntlet of a schedule, how do you think that'll really play a factor in helping your team just consistently not looking too far ahead and being able to handle so many top matchups in a short period of time?
We just let's just get ready for that next possession, and let's just play the next one, and then play the next one, and play the next one, and know that we have each other's backs. And I don't have to be great, but I've got to be very intentional with being here where our feet are, playing and competing at this moment, and just like I said, the trust and faith that will be enough. The scoreboard's going to say what we needed to say at the end if we take our day to day and our processes the right way.
You're talking post-ups and paint touches. How do you, as an offensive staff, how do you look at Adai and Merez's paint touches differently? And I guess, are there situations where you'd prefer one or the other getting those touches?
Yeah, we're still figuring that out against the different coverages and the different levels of physicality. Obviously, Merez had some amazing finishes late, and he makes them look easy, and he slow them down. And like, how the hell did he finish that? Or, man, he made that look easy. So those were obviously important. And just it's the spacing. It's figuring out where to put each of them when this is working or when the matchup's this or that. So I hate to say it, we're still, how many games have we played? 20? 21? We played 21 games, 2 high-level exhibitions, 23 games, and we're still tinkering with spacing with those guys and with the different lineups and trying to figure out, because that's the thing about the Big Ten coaches. They're gonna challenge everything you do and what you get good at. Then they're gonna eliminate that, and so you better have some contingencies. You better have different solutions, because in this league with the personnel and the staffs and the experience now with everyone being old, it's tough to just do what you do and that be enough. And so you're always trying to think ahead of what are going to be the problems and what could be the solutions with what we have.
The mercenary thing really seems to have gotten your attention. Do you take that a little bit personally?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. I mean, especially year two. I mean, how many? Look, I get it, man. I think everyone would rather us just come in and sign a bunch of freshmen and lose and try to grow it organically. But our job from day one was to win, and so we brought in a balanced class, and even the transfer portal thing. Like, I mean, I went in the portal. I went to a small Division II school and played ball and ran cross country, and then realized that wasn't going to get me to where I wanted to be, which was a high school coach in Indiana. And I thought if I go be a student manager for Coach Knight, I could probably get a job in my mid-20s as coaching probably at a small school varsity job. And so it's whatever prepares you best for what's next. I watched a couple of our guys that left after last year's team play this weekend, and man, I love watching those guys. We still talk to them. They root for us. We root for them. We're still in each other's lives. I mean, we're part of each other's journeys. It just wasn't our situation. Wasn't what they wanted at that time, and we're okay with it. We're not mad at them. This is it. I mean, this isn't changing. This is, if we're not fluid and flexible, we coaches don't have the control that we had 7 years ago. We don't really have any control, and I'm okay with that. Like, this is in our program. We want to prepare these guys for what's next, and we want them to stay as long as they're committed to doing it together and representing Michigan. But if they choose something different, then we're not mad at them. We're not making this about us. I mean, I remember our first big loss at FAU. Out of the portal, and the kid left because a high major put him in the portal, and then they ended up not taking him. And we were down because we thought he was our first all-league guy. Man, we brought this kid in. No one knew about him. We've developed him, and just before he's an all-league guy, we lose him. And I just remember the staff in day two were still complaining about it. And I said, guys, we get paid to coach basketball. Let's do it as well as we can. And let's coach the guys that are here, and let's try to find guys who are committed to that want what we want and want to be here for this. And I end up, it ended up paying dividends later as we dealt with it better, and it's just part of it. Like, but this is, we coach ball, and if a guy doesn't like the way player, this isn't what fits them, I'm okay with them. It's not. It is what it is. I mean.
And then Penn State clearly seems to be better than their record, and it seems to me that you probably have your team's attention given the way they played you the first time. Yeah,
they have some tough matchups, and obviously Mingo didn't play in our game, and he made a big-time game winner yesterday against Minnesota. They've played a lot of the top teams close. They've been right there, and as we all know, Minnesota's another great example. Man, they've been in. If you look at their record, you say, oh, they're having a good year one. I mean, Nico's a great coach, and they're going to be at the top of the standings sooner than later. But man, I just look and I'm like, if they just could have finished a couple of those games a little bit differently, or had a break go here or there, the complexion of their record and season would look completely different. And it's like that for everyone. I mean, if DeLeon hits that shot against us, our season may look a little bit different. You just keep getting to the next thing, but understanding all 18 teams, as Rutgers has showed, they've done an unbelievable job of continuing to improve, of fighting like crazy. And every team in our league is really, really – everyone has really good players, period. So if you think you can take a night off in our league, then you're going to be disappointed and probably be playing from behind the rest of the year.
Dusty, you mentioned some guys making sacrifice. You mentioned some of the starters having to coexist, the guys coming in from the portal. Why do you think it's worked?
I always give credit to their families, their camps, the people that are around them. That's as important as anything. I think the foundation that they have before they got here, and then I've said it a million times, our honesty and transparency in the recruiting process. And even if we're having issues during the season, I'll ask the team and I'll ask players, like, is anything that's happening now not exactly how we portrayed it in the recruiting process? Did we lie in any way? Because sometimes you accidentally lie. We've told kids before, like, hey, we're recruiting you to come in here and run our team from day one. That's why you're recruiting here. And then you start practice and you've got an all-league guard on your team already that you didn't know was that good, and it just happens. And then, so there are times when you unintentionally lie, but I mean, we try to tell them exactly the what the picture looks like and what the different ways it could go, and because they remember everything we tell them in recruiting. Everything in the recruiting process. They may not remember anything we said on yesterday's scout or what we said about the practice plan, but everything we tell them in recruiting, they remember it and they hold us accountable. And we haven't told all these guys, you're coming in here to be the man, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. You're coming in to play good ball. Your numbers probably aren't going to be as great as they would other places, but we are going to play faster where there are more possessions, so there's going to be opportunities. But you're coming in to play this way and do it together and with the belief that we're going to win championships.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.